it simplified it for me to a point where I could sit there and say, hey, okay, now I understand this portion. Take a little break, go outside, go for a walk, come back in, knock out the next portion. Document everything. Take pictures of everything. Even what you think is not important, when you get back to your office, that picture may be gold.
What would be your feedback to the people here watching on how helpful was I? How much was I there for you when you needed it?
It was like you were seated right next to me, just saying, hey, do this, just walk through. Here it is.
All right, welcome. I'm Corey Getz with JHC In A Box, talking about contractor financial freedom today. We have a special guest. This is somebody who has utilized the system. They've had a chance to get into it and use it for a large project. They've been in this business for some time now, and just a really great person, very motivating person. We've got Ashley with Romans Roofing today.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, so how you been doing?
I've been good, man. I've been good. Setting new goals ever since I was exposed to Hardie. More importantly, to your system, because that's really helped me to open up and see new opportunities.
Good. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at Romans and what exactly you do at Romans.
Married, 4 kids, incredible family, love life. Try to stay as positive as I can every day and just go hunt down some goals. I've been in the industry about 14 years. I specialize in commercial roofing. That's my jam right there. Commercial roofing, whether it's steep slope or low slope. And then, along the way, I evolved from one opportunity to another, left a unique situation and met up with my friends again over at Romans Roofing. And there, what I do is I handle all the commercial development of that division. So it's exciting for me. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. It probably keeps you pretty busy.
Oh yeah, year round. I mean, it doesn't stop. People always ask me, hey, so what are you doing commercial in the wintertime? It doesn't stop. I mean, there's maintenance, repairs, individuals that all of a sudden have sorts of leaks, snow. I mean, it happens. So, it keeps me busy year round.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So recently we worked together on getting you a project quoted. And so I'd love to talk a little bit more about that project. If you could kind of describe what the project is and, maybe a little bit about the quoting process.
Absolutely. So it was a government project. It consisted of 3 larger buildings, and 1 smaller one. It was all the roofing. It was all low slope roofing, EPDM, and then all the siding. Now, as I shared with you, I was like, I don't want to do this project. I was deathly afraid of it because I didn't know anything about Hardie. I didn't know anything about siding. It's never been an area that I've explored much. And so I wanted to walk away from it. I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. And so I went, okay, you know what?
You actually did walk away from it. What?
I did. I absolutely did. I went and did the site visit. So here's how that happened is I went and did the site visit. Noticed that one of the larger buildings backed up to this marshland. I'm like, oh man, now I got to build platforms for the guys to work off of. I got to put that in my bid. There's a taper system, which I'm fine with. But then the Hardie siding, I couldn't see behind the wall. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. And I was just taking pictures, getting measurements, so on and so forth. And, and talking to some of the other contractors that were out there, one of them had actually did a couple buildings there the year before. He's like, Ash, I'm walking away from this thing. This is the budget that's set for this. It's going to exceed it. And they don't realize it yet. So I walked away from it because we had 1 day, we had a 2-day turn time for our RFI to be in. We need a request for information. I didn't know what information I needed or what questions I had aside from the ones that I already did. But a 2-day turn time, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I just walked away.
Yeah.
Fast forward 2 weeks later, I get a phone call saying, Ashley, we really want you to bid on this project. There weren't enough bidders on this project, so they extended the bid period. It's like, honestly, I don't want to bid it. I'm not comfortable. Well, that's when we got in touch, right? It was, I believe it was a Friday. It was on Friday because I
remember it was Friday. I was at the office writing checks, and I get a text from Mike. Mike works with Ashley, and he goes, hey, can you jump on a call in the next hour with me? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this,
Yeah.
So you reached out. It was a Friday afternoon. I remember it. And then we started looking at the project. You want to take it from there?
Yeah. So I sent you the information I had. We started talking about the project. I plugged into your system. You're like, Ash, just go through the videos, go through the process, and then fill out the sheets. Okay. Well, I started going. I started again hesitating because it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so complex. So I'm just overwhelmed with anxiety at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I started going through the first video, and I was like, that wasn't bad. The short little video, I understood, did the little quiz, took some notes. Said, okay, went through the next one. Before I know it, I'm just carving out one after the other. And what I love about the way that you have it set up is the simplicity of it. It takes for someone who has zero experience in siding and especially Hardie, it's simplified it for me to a point where I could sit there and say, hey, okay, now I understand this portion. Take a little break, go outside, go for a walk, come back in, knock out the next portion. Went through it over and over again. By Saturday afternoon, was it Saturday you had that golf outing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll be on the golf course, hit me up, yada, yada, yada. I said, no, don't worry about it. I'll get through it. Sent you over the information. You peeked at it and you're like, hey man, yeah, that's nice. How about you fill out the sheets correctly, buddy? Because I had all the drawings, all the measurements, I had everything laid out. So I figured that's all we needed.
Yeah.
But what was cool is that I printed out the sheets and I said, okay, you're like, Ashley, again, think about it. Just remember 12-foot runs.
Yeah. All the parts is 12 foot in Hardie.
Everything's 12 feet. That's like, yes, exactly. Everything's 12 feet. I was like, okay. So then I start doing the first one. You said, start on the smallest one and then work your way around. Just take it one elevation at a time. Just go through the whole process. All right. I have to tell you, the first one was probably the most difficult. It was the smallest building. It really was. But once I got in the groove, what I realized for me, it has to be hands-on. So I had to print out those forms, right? Because I was trying to do it all nice and cute and do it, through a PDF on the laptop. And so I wanted it nice and neat for you and all that. And I was like, screw this. I got to do me. Yeah. So I printed them out. Once I started doing that, I got into a flow. And it reminded me a lot of how I do a takeoff sheet for any commercial roof, right? I fill out a same form. It's similar. Yours are, I don't want to say identical, similar. So it gave me that same feel. Yeah. At that point, I started getting comfortable and I was like, you know what it really is? I said, I remember having a conversation with myself. I said, just keep it simple, man. I'm the one who's overcomplicating it. I'm the one who's overthinking it. 12-foot runs, 10-foot for the Z flashings. That was the only difference. So if the height of the building's 28 feet, how many boards am I going to need? Yeah, I'm going to need 3. I can't do 2. And what am I going to do? Stretch them? So
yeah.
Once
you don't have a word stretcher, right?
Yeah, right. But once I got past that here, everything else just became that much more simple. So then I corrected it, got everything back over to you. We looked at it and said, okay. So that was that first step there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those sheets, we find the same thing. We've talked about this where basically, when you fill out those forms, it is nice to kind of type in if you can, but honestly, they're meant so you can take them out in the field, or if you're doing a commercial project, you just print them out and then you can just jot it down as you go. If you make a mistake, you can either cross it out and rewrite it. If you're using a pencil, erase it, rewrite it.
Right.
It makes it really simple. So you watch the videos, you fill out the forms, and then, before you mentioned already, your confidence level in doing Hardie and siding was like very low.
Very low.
You filled out those forms and you watched the videos. Where would you say out of a scale of 1 to 10, your confidence was with bidding this project?
10. Yeah. Without a doubt, it was a 10. Yeah. At that point, it was like, okay, I knew the roofing portion. That's the easy part. The challenging portion for me was going to be the siding, right? Once we went through that whole process and understood, it was it was a concrete structure, a block, right?
Yeah, that's something we kind of caught. We were looking through the pictures.
Yep.
hey, I'm telling you, this is a concrete building, and look at
It
the
is.
picture you took on this picture. I can see the block behind it where the paint's cracking on it. And once we figured that out, it made it a lot easier, right?
Absolutely. And you get it right on the head though. That picture that I took, it's like not knowing what I was doing there that first day during my site visit is I remember what I do know about commercial roofing. Document everything. Take pictures of everything, even what you think is not important. When you get back to your office, that picture may be gold. That's exactly what that picture was to us, because now we knew what we were dealing with. What are we attaching everything to? And then as we broke down the spec, there was a 2-inch insulation panel that had to be placed. Well, I can't go and buy 2x4s at Home Depot or Menards, even at a lumberyard, because the difference between nominal and actual measurements, we would be bending the fiber cement trying to attach to the board, or having to splice down another 2x4.
Yeah.
So, then I reached out and got the actual, found somebody who can actually cut the 2x4s to a true 2x4 so we can apply everything correctly. And that was, it's those little things that's going to make or break a project, right? Absolutely. You miss something like that, you're toast.
And it's like, if you do, and it's like you struggle through it and you didn't have me, would you ever bid another Hardie project again?
Going forward, would I do it?
If you didn't have me and you didn't have the system, would you ever have bid another Hardie project again?
Oh, no. I don't even think, in all honesty, I wouldn't have bid this one.
Yeah. And now that you've bid this one, you've kind of mentioned this to me. If you could tell people, like, now that you've bid this one, your confidence is at 10. How do you feel about bidding future projects with Hardie on?
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. If anything, again, just keep documenting it. Document everything. Take your measurements. Everything's, it's that old saying, measure twice, cut once. Yeah. Right. So just measure everything, little details in your videos. You break it down to the point where you're like, you'll correct me if I'm wrong in this, but in one of them, you're talking about, I hate when people ask me about, give me a price per square.
Yeah.
Well, give me a price per square, and then I'll add 20% waste on it. And in the video, you talk specifically about a 4x8 sheet, that it had to be 26 inches. Well, you needed double the sheets. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you have 20% waste on there. You're still going to lose.
Yeah. There's one time I was doing this commercial project down in Houston where I was early on in business and I was subbing the labor. That's the point I was in my business. I was coming up. It's a big between $250,000 and $500,000 in labor. And so I had this crew down there, and the guy who had done the takeoff for the materials, it had 26-inch soffits. So we were cutting these 4x8 panels in 26 inches. Well, that only leaves us, with a smaller 22-inch panel. And he's like, why is the waste? What's going on? We should have plenty of materials left. Well, no, we don't, because 40% waste on this. And it ended up costing them a lot of money later. And that's one of the big things with Hardie is if you, I think you've kind of identified one of the things I like to say about Hardie's not that hard, but it's also not that easy unless you know what you're doing, right? And the system's designed to walk you through in a way that can help you understand it. Now, as far as the videos go, did you find them easy to follow? Were they relatable? What did you like about the videos?
That they were in bite-sized chunks, right? It's like, I think in the pricing video section, I think it's a total of 48, 49 videos, including the quizzes, something like that.
Yeah.
But when somebody hears, wow, there's 48 videos I got to watch, you could fly through them because the way you deliver the message in each video, it's short. I mean, we're talking about anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes with the intro and the outro, the exit portion of the video, and asking the questions right there. And so they're simple. They're simple for anyone to comprehend, understand, and implement. That's the big thing. You could implement them right there on the spot. Because I had already printed out the sheets. I'm taking notes. I have my drawings. My entire kitchen island counter. Fortunately enough, my wife was visiting my in-laws, and my son was at Great America. So I had the house to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just going through it step by step. Okay, cool. I blew through them in a course of one day, really. Yeah. And I was able to take that process it's simple.
Yeah.
And bid out a project that my final bid was $1.1 million on this project.
That's awesome.
Okay. So came in third. The next person closest to me was 1 million. And then I had 4 other people higher than the 1.1 million. So I was in the pocket.
Yeah.
The winning bid, $550,000. You tell me, yes.
Yeah.
You know it.
That's below our, it cost us more to do it than $550,000.
The 2x4s that we have to have specially cut for that project, that alone was $28,000.
Yeah.
The taper kit on the roof was over $110,000. So you're going to tell me just those 2 items, the wood and a taper kit, and it's required, 2 layers of insulation, but the tape, we're at $130,000, $135,000, just those 2 items. True cost, there's no margin on there. There's no labor on just on those 2 items. That guy's in for a world of hurt.
And this was a commercial project.
Yeah.
And you were able to put it together pretty quick. Now, let's say this was a residential, let's say you're talking about a normal residential house. Do you think you could now do one of those within a couple hours?
Oh God. And it's funny you're saying that because the way I see it on the residential side, I should be able to set up 2 appointments to do the walk around inspection and get my measurements per day. I should be able to handle 2 per day.
Yeah.
And then still handle a minimum of 1 presentation per day.
Yeah.
But think about it. That's 3 solid appointments there. If somebody just figures out a system on generating the leads, bringing the leads in-house, how, finding those opportunities. And that's key. It's on my whiteboard. I have a whiteboard over here to my left. And at the start of the year, I always say, okay, what are my 2 big things that I want to focus on this year? Number 1, how do I grow my commercial business successfully?
Yeah.
Because I can there's only so many hours for just me, right? Per day.
Yeah.
This right here is another tool in my tool belt, if you will. Now being able to strap the siding portion, Hardie, onto a commercial project. I about fell out of my chair when I was done putting this, the actual proposal together, putting the numbers together, this estimate. I said, son of a, the actual Hardie, there's more margin to it. It's a bigger ticket item than just the commercial roof.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking commercial roofing, it's a specialized group of us in the area that do it, right?
Because not everybody has the skill set to do it, right?
Exactly. You have to have the right skill set, the right crews, and understand the systems.
Yeah.
But there's still a good portion of us. Let's talk Hardie for a second on the commercial side. There's even fewer now.
Yeah.
So it just opened up an opportunity for me to say, hey, now I can dive into some larger multifamily commercial projects or look for other additional projects that are commercial based that are looking for either siding, and if I can upsell them to Hardie, man, that's great. And the other one is, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And that one, that's what made me go through this process. I said I always put two questions on my whiteboard at the start of the year. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? That question forced me to seek out your support and get through the videos and forget the fear. Because I didn't even, after that, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna land this project. I had that much confidence when I was done that I'm gonna land that project.
Yeah.
Then I, kind of puckered up. I'm like, oh, now we got to deliver on the production. Oh, I don't have crews that I know of, right? And you helped me make sure my labor and all that was on point.
Help you with the crews too. Help you with the install process. We've got training videos on the whole installation process to make sure that it remains profitable throughout the project.
Right. And just talking about it to some of my crews is like, Ashley, I do Hardie. It's like, what? Why didn't you tell me? He pulls out his phone showing me project after project he's done. Well, I can knock that out.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But that's so true. If you think about, sometimes you set goals. Most people should be setting goals, but in setting goals, sometimes there's a goal that kind of scares you, and it should, because you don't know how you're going to accomplish it. But it's all about taking that first step. And when you take that first step, all of a sudden you see, oh, wait a minute. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. And that's what this whole process did for me.
I've got friends. There's a couple of points I want to touch on that you talked about. I've got friends that are doing $10+ million a year, and they're primarily Hardie contractors, right? So these guys are doing great. I know one of them has got an amazing net margin over 20%. I've got a project right now that's almost $700,000, all Hardie, and I'll have a net margin of 40%. So you touched on one point, you had said it yourself, you're like, I didn't realize that these Hardie jobs had such great margins, right? And I think that's one of the big things that a lot of contractors don't realize. Like, they're passing on the Hardie because they don't think there's any money in it, but they're just not used to doing it. And once they figure it out, they'll realize, man, I can make a bunch of money doing Hardie, right?
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing that you touched on is just that it's not as hard as everybody thinks. It goes back to, it's not that hard, but it's not that easy. Well, it is that easy once you have a system to follow that'll take you through it, like I think you experienced. And that's where a lot of contractors are going to start to realize, like, I'm missing out. One thing that I realize is that I win jobs over other contractors because they don't really know how to put together a good Hardie estimate. They could be the best roofers in town. And some of them are really great roofers, have great businesses, but because they can't put together a quality Hardie estimate, I win the jobs. I get the roof, I get the siding, I get the gutters, or I get the windows, whatever it is, I get the whole package because the homeowners or the business wants somebody that can do it all for them. So I really appreciate you saying, it's not that hard. Once you kind of get past that fear, you take that first step in, which for me is just, for the contractors who want help, is just signing up for the program. And once you sign up for the program, you go through the training, I'm there to assist you, which is the next thing I'd like to ask you about. I'm here to help people through this system. What would be your feedback to the people here watching on how helpful was I? How much was I there for you when you needed me?
Literally, you flat out told me, hey, listen, I'm golfing, but if you need something, you text me or give me a call and I'll call you right back and make sure that I said, no, I don't want to bother you during golf, because I know that that's sacred time to most individuals, right? They get out there. That's
not good anyways.
To some people, it's like biblical,
Yeah, well, it is a big thing for me, but yeah.
Yeah. So for me, having you, number one, in the videos, it was like you were seated right next to me, just saying, hey, do this, just walk through. Here it is. And again, then the next piece, and then the next piece in the videos. And then after I was done, I text you, hey, I'm sending it over. Great. I'm on my way back. I'll check everything out and give you some feedback and let you know what else I need. But it was almost instantaneously that you were right there present, being able to help out.
Yeah. And that was on the weekend, unexpectedly, right? Like, yeah. I try to stay as available as possible for everybody. When doing this, my goal is to make other contractors successful so they can have that same financial freedom that I have. So they feel great about bidding these Hardie jobs, because I think that there's a lot of opportunity out here for contractors with Hardie right now. And whether it's commercial, residential, there's just tons of opportunity. And if we can get guys more comfortable with it, I think it'll be a lot better for everybody. So.
Well, I agree. You and your whole team, phenomenal, hands down support always. And what I also want to share, and I don't think that I did about this project, was the quick turn time. We had this conversation on a Friday. Yeah. I had to turn my bid in by Tuesday afternoon because the bid opening was Wednesday. So, I mean, think about it. From Friday to having everything dialed in on Tuesday, going through that process on a massive project. The surface area alone for the Hardie was 16,000 square feet of surface area. Yeah. So think about it. That's a lot of surface area. Yeah. And then the squares on the roof, so it was combining all that together in a short period of time.
Yeah. Once you were able to fill out those forms and turn them back over to us, we're able to take those and help you. Like, I have somebody that works full time for me, and pretty much all they do is put together estimates for us. And so that way, if it's like, hey, you need to turn around quick, and which you did, and ideally we'd like a little more time than what you gave us, but we can do that. Like, if you need a large project turned around. We have that capability because I have what I call a project designer. And so Matt's our project designer. He's a really great guy and he's detail oriented. So we've got the forms filled out from you or anybody else that follows our system. We can take that and turn that into a quote. And on top of that, we put it into our estimate template, but we can help you with yours creating an estimate template for you. So that way your team can have it in your system too.
Yeah. I mean, it was phenomenal. You guys did great. I mean, tip of the hat, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Well, what else? Anything else you'd like to cover today? Any highlights you've got in there?
I honestly, it comes down to one thing. Just get out of your own way. If you're new to Hardie, get out of your own way, plug into the system. It will walk you through step by step. It's simple. It just kept things simple for me. I didn't have to worry about, okay, how much wrap are we going to need around each building? That'll fall into place. It's just understanding the process, take it step by step, and then get out there and hunt down some opportunities. Because it's great if you go through the process, through the system. But if you don't implement it out there and set goals around there to say, okay, I'm gonna work just this week. I'm gonna try to land one additional opportunity that is Hardie based.
Yeah.
That's it. And then from there, measure, monitor, and adjust your goals. If that was your goal for week 1, what's your goal for week 2? 2 of them. Okay, great. 3, and then see the success.
Yep. I know when I started in the Contractor Alliance program with Hardie, it was like, all right, I just need to get up to 12 jobs. I think it was 6 jobs to get listed on the website. And it was like 12 to get to this next level. And then preferred, I needed to get 24. It's just a matter of setting goals, right? And yeah, I think it's great. Cool. I do want to thank you, Ashley, for meeting with me today. And, I want to thank your whole team at Romans. One thing we didn't talk about is prior to this, I went up and we did an in-person training at Romans Roofing, and we were able to kind of sit down with the whole team and talk about these different parts of Hardie. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with me and go through it and, help you try to grow your business.
It's our pleasure. We really appreciate the friendship, the camaraderie. And, anytime you need any support, man, I'm only a phone call away, or anybody at Romans is only a phone call away. We'd be there for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I've actually thrown you guys a couple roofing leads in recent time for some residential ones too over to Mike. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate you guys being there and helping me get started in this and get going. And anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know.
All right, brother. Will do. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one.